Hello, everyone. This is going to be a very unusual podcast. I accidentally skipped an episode, so this is us recording that episode that I skipped. Accidentally
Yay.
skipped.
Yeah.
There is some crucial aspects in this episode, and this is episode 14. The last one was episode 15. This episode is called "Someday." On a million little things, season 1, episode 14, written by David Marshall Grant and directed by Richard J. Lewis. This is where we won't be having this special segment this time because we're just recording stuff, or the missing episode, and so that we can get back on track. So yeah, let's begin, I guess. Well, this episode takes place right after Delilah and Gary learns about Barbara Morgan and the paintings. I have to find the B. Morgan, the painting that that John had on the chemo ward. Yeah, and that was painted by Barbara Morgan. Gary hired a PI from his company, and he in this episode meets Barbara Morgan. Rings the bell, say hello, and then Barbara Morgan just gets rid of Gary but there is some secret to be had, because when Barbara closes the door, she talks with someone about who is that, and says no one, but you see, it's clearly obvious that there's something going on. And in this episode, Eddie returns from his tour. He was in the tour last episode, taking care of Theo, because Catherine had a date, and she wanted Theo out of the house. So Theo was in the tour bus. He left in the winter finale during Christmas, and he's back. So he reunites with Gary and Rome, who meets with him in the bus stop, or the parking lot, I guess. And he's back, basically, which is a nice thing, I guess. And this is the crucial part of this episode. In this episode, yes, Barbara Morgan is a key factor, but in this episode, Regina is the main focus of this episode. Each episode does have a slight focus on the character, and in this episode, it's Regina. Regina is preparing to open a restaurant, so in a couple of days, she's gonna be opening a restaurant. She got the it's very crucial that she opens the restaurant, because John left the restaurant for Regina and Delilah, so they have to open it. And then that's when things happen, when they learn that where the money came from for Regina's the restaurant. It was from her the fact that the person who gave Regina the money basically makes Regina have a breakdown. She doesn't want to have any part of this person, because of an experience she felt when she was a teenager. And that's the key aspect of this episode. When Regina learns of this, she has a breakdown, which basically is she doesn't want to open the restaurant anymore. She wants to give the restaurant up, even though it was one of John's one last gift to them. She really doesn't want anything to do with it, which is very upsetting for many people, especially Delilah. And there's another situation with the restaurant. They don't have a liquor license.
So they can't sell liquor.
Exactly. Liquor is, I think, one of the most important thing in a restaurant, because I think if you're an adult and go to a restaurant, 77% of the time, you would most likely order alcohol.
Yuki
I
loves
think.
his liquor.
I don't drink. What?
Yes, yes. Yeah,
So
what?
Delilah, uh, when she was on her road trip, she met in the gas station. She met a man, right? And Delilah has been stalking this person on the internet and finds out that this person owns multiple restaurants, which means this person um can fast process the um the liquor license, which Delilah asks for a favor, and he obliges and says yes to um helping uh her. But I think uh this is will have a price, in my opinion. But not everything has a price, so And then Gary, it's quite funny, realizes that when Eddie returned from the tour, you know, um, Gary realizes that Eddie has not have had sexual intercourse ever since he broke up with Delilah. Um, that's the day before John died. That's a half a month, 6 months, and Gary's very concerned with that, even though um, I don't think it's his business. But that's when Gary introduces Eddie to his private investigator, company's private investigator, and apparently she is a fan of the band that Eddie was part of. Very
Okay.
big coincidence. And then
Okay.
yes, apparently she during since they had the tour, she did see one of his tours, which is another coincidence or luck. I don't know. But if she's a fan, then she would come to the tour. So um,
Mhm.
it's not it's them meeting. It's a coincidence, but it's everything happens for a reason, like the title. And then Gary meets the guy who can get the liquor license, and since Gary is like a, a Gary feels like Delilah is a sister to him. Gary is very protective of Delilah, for of men that might invade, that might you know, become more of a closer relationship towards Delilah. Um, and then we have Maggie and Rome. Um, confronting isn't the word. Comforting, I think, is the word. Comforting Regina. Yes.
Confronting.
Yeah. Comforting Regina about her breakdown, and Regina tells how she felt like she was sexually assaulted because um, her uncle told her to take her shirt off, and then that's when it stopped. So Regina is uncomfortable being near her uncle, and since her uncle paid for some of the restaurant, Regina is very uncomfortable. So she's in this trauma sense. And yeah, so Maggie and Rome learns of this happening to Regina while she was a teenager, and this forces Maggie um, to tell Regina to confront her fear by talking to her uncle.
Mm.
So Maggie, Rome, and Regina decides to go to the hospital that the uncle is in because the uncle is dying. Yeah, it's bad timing too. Well, for confrontation, it's a bad timing. And Regina, you arrive at the hospital, you try to confront the person, but you can't because of all this trauma and emotional issues that you've encountered, and you try to block it out in your mind. So things. So Regina at the beginning doesn't want to see her uncle, and by the time she's ready, she learns that the uncle is dead. Very bad timing, in my opinion. But it's very dramatic how, now I'm ready. But then you learn that the person's dead, and it's quite, yeah,
Anticlimactic.
yes, very. But then Regina accepts it and, becomes more open to the possibility of opening the restaurant, and decides to open the restaurant in honor of John, and the restaurant is a success, or it opens and it's a full of success. Well, everyone's working. Eddie, Rome, they're doing some helping in the background, and the restaurant is a big success, and um it's full and they all like it. So Maggie convinces Regina to go out there and speak to your customers, and she gets a very very uh big clap because of how successful the restaurant is right now. It's and Regina um you know is able to um conquer her fear or her trauma, and rise up and do an amazing job on the first day the restaurant opens. And as people who already listened to episode 15 knows, it's a success. Rome and his family also ate there, and yeah, it's a very successful restaurant that the show. It's one of the key places that Regina is going to be at during this series. And then we've then go to Barbara Morgan again, B. Morgan, and she's watching a video of John saying sorry, and she's watching this video of John. So Barbara Morgan does have a part in John's life, and she might have been involved in John's suicide. We don't know, because it's very a teaser of her character, because her character is gonna be a bigger one in the half of season 2 and the last episode of season 1. We also had Barbara Morgan in episode 15 watching the Dixon family, Delilah, Sophie, and Danny house. So she is a big character, or is going to be a bigger character in the future. Yes, that's the episode. It's a very important episode for for Regina, because she had to conquer fear, etc., etc. And the restaurant opening is very important, and then Barbara Morgan is also important. So I just thought I had to record this because I skipped an episode, and I'm very sorry. What do you think? How do you feel about this episode? It's very important, right?
It is important. Like, nothing like some major stuff happened, but I feel like it's setting up for more the ending of this season.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, and I'm excited to get there. I love that we missed this. I love that we missed this entire episode.
I honestly skipped it because the episode I talked about after this was kind of had a simple title, and it was very memorizable because of the fact that Catherine asked Gary to be Theo's guardian, and that's the only thing I focused on. So I kind of forgot about this until when I finished editing the 15th episode and uploaded it. I kind of remembered I had episode 14 that was missing, and I thought, oh no. And yes, very important episode. I will promise to not do this again, but humans make mistakes, so I might do this again, but we will never know what's gonna happen. And I just want to say, for anyone who has who's listening to this podcast has experienced sexual assault, please get help. You should talk to someone, and that will probably ease your trauma than um, holding it to yourself, which will at one point blow up, and it might not end as good as when people think. So please take care of yourselves. And thank you for watching this episode. We'll see you next time. Yeah, thank you. Bye bye.